On today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, Darnell Mooney has signed with the Atlanta Falcons. That happened yesterday. So who are some replacements for him? Who are some receivers the Bears can go after? Hopefully starting today. We'll dive into some names here in just a second, but we are presented by True Classic. Shout out to True Classic. I'm rocking one of the golf polos today. TrueClassic.com/chatsports. Get you 25% off. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. All right, Darnell Mooney, Atlanta Falcons. We covered it live yesterday, but for those who may have missed it, 3 years, $39 million, $26 million guaranteed. Nice payday. I'm happy for Darnell. Good dude, great in the locker room. Production was down the last couple of years for a variety of reasons, but he gets his money, so good for him. I think it makes sense for both sides. Let him go. Let him get paid elsewhere. But obviously, if you're the Bears, and it doesn't take a genius to know this, you need a lot more in the receiver room. You have DJ Moore, a bit of an unknown commodity in Tyler Scott. Like, I still think there's potential there, but even if he hits, he's probably more of a 3. I think we know Velus Jones is just a backup and a gadget guy at this point. Colin Johnson's an intriguing depth piece. Simba Webster, futures deal. I'm not really going to dive super deep into that. I mean, you really need 2 more starting caliber receivers, and ideally you get one of those guys in free agency. So name a receiver that you want on the Chicago Bears. Drop a name. It could be a trade. It could be a free agent. It could be a draft pick. Doesn't matter. I want to hear a name that you want in Chicago right now. How about a big one? How about a splash? How about trading for T. Higgins? I know we've talked about this some on our live streams the past couple of days, but we haven't dove deep into it just yet, so we could do that here. He, of course, requested a trade on Monday. It's unclear what Cincinnati's plans are. Are they going to keep him? Do they end up paying him what he wants? Do they trade him? Who knows? Obviously, he had a bit of a down year, but I think you can attribute a lot of that to the fact that he was catching passes mostly from Jake Browning instead of Joe Burrow. He also missed 5 games, still averaged a career high, 15.6 yards. One of the best jump ball receivers, boundary guys, back shoulders, the guys who could separate just enough. He's not going to, be among the league leader in that category, but more of that big physical boundary receiver. Now, if I'm the Bears, I'd probably be a little bit surprised if they traded for him. We'll show the trade here in a second here, because it's not just the trade, it's are you willing to trade for him and then pay him $25 million per year? Because that's probably what it's going to take. It's at least going to be 22, 23, I would imagine, maybe upwards of 25 based on what Michael Pittman got. So I think that's the question. And this has kind of been the trade idea that's been circulating online. I know some of you guys have thrown it out there. Basically, you swap 9 and 18 and pick up T. Higgins. Now, I wonder if you'd also have to throw like a day 3 pick to Cincinnati, like one of your 4th-round picks. This framework isn't bad, though, for the Bears, because you would have your second receiver at 18. Maybe you could get a Jackson Powers-Johnson, or maybe one of the edges is still there. Maybe Latu falls there, or Jared Verse is sitting there. So you could still get a premium player there. JPJ at center would be a great option at number 18 as well. So I don't mind the framework. It's just knowing Ryan Poles. Is he going to do that, then give T. Higgins a massive extension when in a year or two you're going to have to probably pay DJ Morgan as well? It seems unlikely, so I'd be open to it, but I don't think the Bears will do it. So let's get into more of the realistic kind of realm of player here. Let's talk about some free agents here. 5 guys worth monitoring. Number 1, Tyler Boyd here, fellow Cincinnati Bengal, who I think we'd all be pretty surprised if the Bengals brought him back. I think the only way they bring him back is if they do trade T. Higgins, and you would think that would have to happen soon because Boyd's going to have suitors, and we're already on day 3 of free agency, so he's not going to wait around forever if Cincinnati wants him back. He's just been very consistent. Early on in his career, he was a number 1 in Cincinnati as they were kind of in that transition period, late Andy Dalton years before Joe Burrow. Then he kind of became that number 2. He's been a number 3 the last couple of years with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase's emergence. But whatever his role has been, he's been productive. He has 7 seasons in his 8-year career of 600 or more yards. He has 1 or 2,000-yard seasons. He has a few 800-yard seasons, but the floor for him has been 600 yards, basically. So that's like really good number 3, kind of average number 2. Like if he's a 650-yard guy, like that's an average number 2, but it's a great number 3, and I think that it would be the goal, right? You bring him in, he's your slot, and then you get a number 2 in the draft. whether it's at pick 9 or in a trade down scenario, whatever the case may be. So I like Tyler Boyd a lot. He's a good route runner. He's reliable. He's definitely on my radar. What's been on my radar for a couple of years now is True Classic. Listen, you want to be comfortable. You want to look good in a simple manner. True Classic is the clothing company for you. Go check them out this second because, listen, they're going to show the best parts of the male body. That's how their T-shirts are designed. If you're a bigger guy like me and you don't like how a lot of T-shirts fit or how they feel or how they look, check out True Classic. You got my word on that. You're going to be feeling comfortable, more confident when you leave your house every single day as well. My wife even made a couple of comments when I first started getting going with True Classic. Walked home with couple of T-shirts from True Classic after we got some shipped to us. Shout out to True Classic for that. She's like, whoa, I like those T-shirts. Those fit you good. You look good. And I was like, yeah, True Classic, very simple. She's bought me more of True Classic since then. Go check it out, trueclassic.com/chatsports. /chatsports gets you 25% off. They also have joggers. They have hoodies, shorts. They got it all. They've expanded over the years. So give them a look, trueclassic.com/chatsports. You get 25% off on your first purchase. Link is in the comments and in the description. Get going with True Classic today. Feel good, look good. It's awesome. Okay, let's get to more free agents. Curtis Samuel, a player we talked about a lot leading up to free agency. Kind of just your textbook number 3, right? Really good speed. Plays primarily in the slot, but can split out wide occasionally if you need him to. You can use him in gadget ways as well, jet sweeps out of the backfield. He's just a fun, good player. Like, he's who you wanted Velus Jones to be. Let's be honest. 4-3 guy, just like Velus. Can do all the gadget stuff Velus can, but he can actually run routes, and he has reliable hands. Like, I would love to get Curtis Samuel in here. Certainly a lot faster than Tyler Boyd. I think Boyd's probably a little bit of a steadier, more sure-handed guy and runs better routes, but Samuel's good enough in that regard. Obviously, you've got the connection with DJ Moore. They both played in Carolina, so you wonder if DJ Moore's dropped his name at all to Ryan Poles. Matt Eberflus like, hey, I'd vouch for him. We play well off one another. You would think there's at least been a mention of that, but you got that connection as well. Tyler Boyd or Curtis Samuel, I think they're perfect number 3 wide receivers for this offense. Now, we're going to be live here on the channel. It's going to be a little bit later than this, probably, so subscribe and turn on notifications. Might be more like 1 o'clock Central Time. A little later getting this current video out. Had some other things going on, but subscribe. Join us for day 3 coverage because at 4 o'clock Eastern and 3 Central is the official start of the new league year. Players could get cut. By the way, we're not diving into these players today, but keep an eye on the Chargers. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, one of those guys could get cut or traded. Maybe the Bears get involved there. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll see you guys in a few hours live here on the channel. Okay, Marquise Brown. I haven't been as high on this option because he's probably more of a 2, and I'm not opposed to getting a 2, but I just think the Bears are going to get a 2 in the draft. Like that would be my preferred outcome. But maybe the market's not as great for him as he hopes. Maybe you get him on like a 1-year flyer, 1 year, 15 mil or something like that. He's a speed demon. Now, he's inconsistent. He has drop issues. He's not the best route runner. But the guy can absolutely fly. I mean, his straight line speed is as good as anybody in the NFL. He's very twitchy as well. He can take the top off the defense while DJ Moore, continues to be that kind of intermediate guy for you and the Yak King, if you will. But I'd be open to it. I would still be drafting a receiver pretty high in the draft. If you got Marquise Brown, I'd like the idea of Boyd and Samuel better. I think they're a little cheaper and are kind of true number 3s, but certainly wouldn't be upset if Marquise Brown ended up in Chicago. The ultimate wild card every year, Odell Beckham Jr., who's a free agent once again. Look, we kind of know what he is at this point. He's a somewhat diminished product, but he's still a good route runner. He could still be fairly productive. I think he's, a number 2, number 3 at this point. He's not going to have a 1,200-yard season or something like that. He's probably going to miss a few games with injuries, but he still can win you a game or 2 throughout the course of a season. I just think where he's at in his career, I expect the Bears to be a good team next year, but I think he'll sign with like a more vet team with a vet quarterback. Like, wouldn't be surprised if this was the year the Chiefs got him, or maybe he re-ups in Baltimore. Maybe he goes to Pittsburgh. Him and Russell Wilson are tight. They just traded Deontay Johnson, so I wouldn't be surprised by that. I don't think the Bears are the team for OBJ, but did want to include him in here. And then a guy that I've been pretty high on, especially as we got closer to free agency and now have gotten into free agency, Josh Reynolds. I mean, he had some good years in L.A. He's had 2 good years in Detroit. I mean, this is pretty good wide receiver 3 production here. 40 catches, 15 yards per catch, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. Like, if you could get him in here for less than $10 million per year and he gave you this exact season, would you not be more than thrilled with that? Like, he's pretty damn good, and he's sure-handed. I know he wasn't in the NFC Championship game, so hold your pitchforks, but he's been a pretty reliable pass catcher. I think he's a solid option. I really do. I've always liked Josh Reynolds. He's nothing about his game is flashy, but he just gets open. You know, those overs that Ben Johnson likes to run on those play action kind of schematics. I think that Shane Waldron will do a lot of that. You saw him do that with Geno Smith a lot, play action, hit those hard crossers with Lockett over the years. I think Reynolds does some similar things. So for, less than $10 million per year on a 1 or 2 year deal, I would certainly be open to that. So make the call. Will Ryan Poles sign a wide receiver today? I tweeted it out. That's my bold prediction. They add a receiver today. Type Y for yes or type in for no. Let me know what you guys think. And then obviously you got the draft. We're not diving too deep into the draft on this video, but regardless of getting one of these guys in the draft, I still think you want to get someone else. But obviously the Bears are going to be linked to Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze, potentially at that number 9 pick. Brian Thomas, Adonai Mitchell as potential trade down targets. Day 2 guys, although Worthy or McConkey could go day 1 as well. Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin, Xavier Legette. There's a lot more players out there. So certainly you're going to draft somebody. But again, when you look at this wide receiver room, I'm not comfortable entering the draft with this. I'm just not. You don't have to add 2 guys in free agency, but you got to get a guy that you at least feel like, okay, this guy can be our number 3, like a Tyler Boyd, like a Josh Reynolds, like a Curtis Samuel. Like, you get that guy in there, I'm cool. You don't need to sign 2 starting receivers in free agency, but you got to get one and then give you some flexibility in the draft because you don't know what's going to happen in the draft. Bears only have 5 picks right now, so anything can happen on draft night. So I expect Ryan Poles to make an addition there. We'll see if that addition comes today. All right, guys, my name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate you for watching. Subscribe. Join us. I'm guessing 1 o'clock Central Time at this point. We'll be live. It's just before noon Central, so we'll see you guys here in a little bit. Bear down. Stay tuned.